All right, everybody, welcome in. This is the Daily Hit and Run Show brought to you by YourFiltersChoice.com. My name is Adam, also known as at YFC Sports V12. I'm joined by my guy at YFC Sports Pete, Mr. Pete Cole. Sorry, guys, a few minutes late coming in today, but we're happy to be bringing the fire. We had a big MLB slate yesterday, and a lot of people joined the channel. A lot of people viewed yesterday. Hopefully, we were able to make you guys some money. There was a no-hitter last night, the most unsuspecting no-hitter, I think, of the season or for a long time, man. But Pete, joining us today. How you doing, my guy?
Doing well. We had last night was good. We had a sweat. Me and Corey, one of our other premium members, we sweated at $20, but finally we got passed because of Bumgarner. Bumgarner outpointed Clevenger, but it was a good sweat last night, so we came close. I think that was a $20, but we're on a roll right now, really. I mean, it's been a good almost a week straight. I think we've been hitting at least definitely the cash lines every night. So keep it going.
I was going to say that Taylor Ward being out actually helped me quite a bit because he was priced so high that I had some Angels mini stacks and things like that. And they wound up getting Brett Phillips out there on the mound and stuff. And so I played a lot of Trout in the 20 lineups that I had. And that wound up paying off, man. The guy's a stud. Obviously, he's, most of these MLB players, they go up against these positional pitchers that are coming in just to get through the game. Mike Trout's like, I'm not having any of that. He's like, I'm going to take this dude yard. So
I think you're to the point where I think you play Trout or Acuna every night. Like Acuna didn't hit a home run last night. He had one hit, but he gets a couple of walks, and he's got 14 points. So play one of those two guys every night, and I think you're good.
Acuna, man, he looks amazing. He looks super healthy. Whatever they did as far as keeping him out, to allow him to heal up and everything like that, that was smart by them. So, yeah, man, we're going to be digging in, guys. We have a split MLB slate today, obviously. If you're not currently in our premium MLB Discord, now's the time to get in, guys. The Discord is free at yourfilterschoice.com. You can join in and you can get into some free chats, our general chats, winning lineups room. Is our Coors room premium, Pete? Do you know for sure?
Yeah, it should be.
All right. So, with that being said, guys, where I hang out, where a lot of people hang out from our team, our coaching staff and whatnot, is in our premium chat. So if you want to get in there, you want to have access to coaches, ask questions. We're going to be covering some split slates today. I do know that with one of the slates, I believe is at 3 or 4 o'clock Eastern time. I'll be covering that with some core notes in the premium MLB room. Pete's going to throw some stuff for the early slate, but this show in particular, what we're going to be covering is the main slate for DraftKings and FanDuel, 7:05 p.m. Eastern time. It's looking like a 7-game slate right now with one game with a little bit of weather for this evening. And so we're going to talk through it. We're going to talk through some pitching. We're going to talk through some positions, bats, and some stacks and some home run calls. I got Reese the Beast last night. I don't even know if we're keeping a tally, but I feel like we're 1 and 2 maybe.
Yeah, I may have 2. I can't remember who I had last night.
Yeah, I don't know, but I do know that I picked Reese Hoskins because I remember talking about the guy's fly ball rate or whatnot. So
that was a good call.
We picked 2 players. I definitely got there. So we're just going to call it 2-1 right now. Pete's ahead of me, guys. So I got to catch up here. But with that being said, Pete, before we jump in, we do want to talk about our promo right now. $25 half off. Best price in the industry, honestly. I don't know if you dug around and saw just for MLB content, what some sites are charging and, what we're giving you guys outside of the daily streams, the daily core plays. Right now, we're having a cash core. In addition to that, with a GPP core, there will be FanDuel content as well on there. We do have a PrizePicks show today. Which is really, really nice to have from you and Mark, which is at YFC Tart, one of our NHL guys, and he contributes to a lot of different sports, so he's going to have some great plays in there. But we have a PrizePicks room in our free Discord, so be sure to check that out, guys. Hit that thumbs up, give us the like, and the subscribe, of course. That helps us out immensely through all of our social chats. Hit that bell for notifications so you can see whenever Your Filter's Choice does drop any new videos on YouTube or any other content. Guys, we're going to be digging right in. Pete, I'm going to talk about weather because it needs to be talked about. But other than that, man, we're ready to dive right in. It looks like Houston and Minnesota is the only game that we're expecting anything. It does say, according to Kevin Roth, a local Houston guy, it's a guy that, I follow. I mean, there are other guys that are out there, like we said, but he does a pretty good job of notifying us It's an orange-yellow rating according to his scale. Severe storms are firing up tonight in Minnesota. They should start, yada, yada, yada. But everything from second inning storm pops up to get lucky and dodge a storm stop to the game is on the table. So it looks like it's something to keep in mind. We're going to be keeping an eye on weather. And if you're in the premium chat like we talked about, that's how you're going to get notified, guys. So be sure to jump in if you're not already in there. And Pete, we're ready to rock and roll, brother. We're going to start with pitching today. If you have anything you want to talk about before the slate, or if you want to dive right in, the floor is yours, my man.
Yeah, let's just start with pitching. And this is not a bad pitching slate, really. So I think right away it's to me, DK. You had the FanDuel prices in front of you, but no DK. I think Ohtani is pretty close to a must play in cash. He's only 80. He's only 8,800 in DK. So I do see FanDuel is 10-8, but FanDuel may be a little bit different choices, but Ohtani, I think you lock him in as your SP1. I mean, he's 14K per 9, 182 Sierra. I mean, 212 XFIP. This is all elite numbers. We saw what Reed Detmers did last night to Tampa. But once again, I mean, Tampa's just going to lie down. Tampa's a very good team, good organization, but Ohtani's your guy, 8-8. The decision is, where do you go for the SP2? And there's a bunch of ways. And you got McClanahan, so you can double bang that game. I mean, the kid's a stud. He's another one of these guys that the Rays brought up through their system that is following all these other aces. Now you got McClanahan. He has not giving up more than 3 runs in a start. 3.06 ERA, 0.099 whip, 13.08 K9, a little bit tiny bit lower than Ohtani. And a big thing is I think it's the MLB best 59.2% ground ball rate. Yeah. The only problem McClanahan is the price. So you between him and Ohtani, you're paying 19 grand for 2 pitchers. If the value pops, you do it. If not, you got Taylor McGill pitching really well. Miles Michaelis, I've been a big fan of his all year, who's been pitching really well. But I'm interested in this kid, Joey Wentz. I actually dug into Wentz a little bit this morning, and Joey Wentz is brought up from Detroit, making his first MLB start. The main thing is his price. So he's only I think $5K, I believe his price is on DK, and
5.8 on FanDuel.
Okay, so there you go. So he's minimum. He's going up against Oakland. I watched that game yesterday. Oakland has no offense right now, and the kid, as long as the kid can control the zone, he's going to be good. I think he's their number 10 prospect, but he's got a 4-seam fastball, throws between like 93, 95 miles an hour. He's got a changeup. He's got a curveball. So he's got 3 pitches, and he worked on it all spring. He's got this cutter now, and he finally displayed it his last game in AAA, and they said he was electric. He fired 4 innings, 2-run ball, 1 walk, 8 strikeouts. First time using that pitch. Once again, at AAA, but the kid had TJ surgery back in 2020, right. But 34% strikeout rate in AAA. So, seems like half these guys in the league right now should be in AAA. Some of these batters. So I think he's in a good spot against Oakland today. Not saying we use McCash, but if you want to load up and double bang like an Ohtani and Trout or something, but unless you want to do that against McClanahan, but I think I think you can definitely go with this kid Wentz. But I'm gonna try to get McClanahan, Ohtani. If not, I'm gonna have to drop down to like a Miles McCollum, something like that.
Yeah, that makes sense. Pete, unfortunately, is going to get our YouTube rating pushed up because he keeps saying the double bang word. But with that being said, yeah, I agree with you, man. With pitching, it seems like when you're want to play one of these guys, possibly on a short, I'm sure he'll be on a pitch count. But with that being said, if the guy throws 65, 70 pitches or whatever, there's definite value there at 5.3, especially against an Oakland team, which is kind of funny, man, because Oakland started out pretty hot, right? They were scoring the most runs in the majors, at least like the first month or something like that. And then it just out of nowhere, the talent finally caught up, and it looks like that they just kind of dropped off there. And I don't know Joey Wentz from the standpoint of if he's a reverse splits pitcher or not. He's going to see a lot of right-handers today. So obviously there's some Ks baked into these lineups there. And then From an umpire standpoint, it's pretty neutral. So, I mean, yeah, I think that you can definitely get on board there. I think on FanDuel being a one-pitcher site, you're really looking at it almost as a more of a GPP standpoint because, you're probably want to go ahead and lock in those points at starting pitcher. You're probably going to be playing an Ohtani, or you can look at McGill, obviously, on there. There's some other guys. Eovaldi's going to be popular there, albeit against Atlanta. But, yeah, I mean, you can definitely go there and you can afford a lot. Like on FanDuel, if you play him, you can pretty much play whoever you want on as far as hitters go. So I like that call a lot. I was kind of looking at a couple of these guys on here. I'm worried about some weather here and there. So obviously that's something to look at. Do you have any interest at all in Ian Anderson here going against Boston? I know he's kind of been polarizing this year. I want to get your thoughts on that.
That's not a bad call because I always like Anderson. I mean, I seen that kid pitch in high school, and but the problem, he's so volatile. That's the problem. That's the problem with Anderson is he can look so good, but the Red Sox right now are not. They're tough. I'm looking right now. The swing strike rate is only 12.2%, which actually is pretty good. Compared to some of these, Angel's a lot better, but GP. I guess GPP only. Anderson's always in play, but like I said, volatile, very volatile.
Yeah. One thing I noticed with him too, I was actually watching him pitch because I played him, and I try to tend to watch my guys, especially. Shout out to the MLB app if you have. I think T-Mobile, you get it free all season. So, I was watching him pitch, and what really sucked is he was struggling because he would literally get guys in an 0-2 count, and then he would walk them. And so it drove up his pitch count. I'm not kidding you. He did this 3 or 4 times during the last game. It was extremely frustrating. So I was watching that, and that was something that kind of like, man, is he not confident in his put away stuff? Is he not challenging batters? But the one thing I will say that there's no real high walk hitters here for Boston. They tend to be a little bit more aggressive. So that's going to lean a little bit on his side. So obviously that's something that I'm looking at there. I think he is volatile. I will absolutely play him over Miles Mikolas, even going against Baltimore. I think, Mikolas is a more of a pitch to contact guy. I think I've talked about them, but he's got James Hoy behind the plate, calling the balls and the strikes, extreme hitters umpire. Baltimore, got after it last night. You were all over that. Obviously, I was completely out of the loop. I did not even know who St. Louis was pitching last night. And then I remember thinking about it. I was like, damn, I should have really stacked some more Baltimore. But yeah, they were all over. That was a great call by you yesterday. But I think it's going to be Ohtani, and then you're just going to kind of decide you're going to play Wentz. You're going to probably roll that, or you're going to just pay up and you're going to, as Pete likes to coin it, double bang it with a McClanahan or a Tyler McGill. I think those are all viable as well. Anything else on pitching that you want to mention, Pete? It's not a huge slate, so
to me, it's got a couple good pitchers, and you got some gas cans like Jose Urquidy's pitching today. Aaron Sanchez is pitching today. Guys, we can definitely take advantage of. These guys shouldn't even be in the league anymore. Some of these guys. So,
I agree.
Well, I shouldn't say about Urquidy. Urquidy's solid, but Aaron Sanchez.
Yeah, he's solid. The issue is he's a reverse splits guy. He's good against lefties, and then he can't get right-handers out, and that's my main issue with him is that he blows up against these guys. So until he can figure out how to get right-handers out, when you're literally that, I guess, bad against one side of the plate, that's an issue, especially against a righty versus righty, because you're tending to see more righties than anything in the major leagues. It's just a higher percentage of batters on there. So, all that being said, like I said, it's something to keep an eye on. FanDuel pricing, obviously, Joey Wentz. Like we said, if you play him, you're going to get anything you want. But I think Ohtani is going to come in as the highest owned pitcher. All right, guys, we're going to move on to the hitting side of things, and we're going to talk a little bit about positionals, some guys that we want to attack. Pete did mention there's some gas cans on there, and I'll be covering a little bit of BVP along with some notes from Pete. So at the catcher position, Pete, kind of looking at today, seeing if anything stood out. And forgive me, guys, I'm going to have to make sure that I say the right guys, because if they're not on the slate, that there's a possibility there. But I do know, depending on what happens, Kyber Ruiz could see Tyler McGill, who's only seen him a couple times, and he's hitting 500, but that's only 2 plate appearances. Nothing to write home about there. Darnode, he went yard last night. He's playing against Eovaldi today. No home runs, but 9 at-bats, 11 plate appearances, a couple walks, couple doubles, 4 strikeouts. 333,
right.
slugging 556. There's nothing really there, Pete, on catcher BVP wise. So what are you seeing?
Once again, you got Salvi if you want to go all the way up, but if you're going to go the McClanahan Otani route, obviously you're not going to go Salvi. So I think I'm going to go probably all the way down to MJ Melendez again. The kid is, the kid's not hitting with power, but the kid's got it. He's hitting 310 on the season, 389 OBP. I like this kid a lot. I think the problem is he's no longer 2K. He's now 3-1. And right in that same area, though, if you can get a little bit more power from Tucker Barnhart, who had a decent game, I think, was yesterday. But that's really, there's not much there. Vasquez for Boston, but I'm not messing with Zanino in the middle there. I do like Sean Murphy. He's getting hot. And then you got Yadi Molina's hitting 313 over the last week. So going to get Spencer Watkins in that Oriole bullpen. So maybe Molina's the play. Molina's the same price as Melendez. So maybe Molina is our cheap play unless something pops up when lineups come out.
Yeah, I really like Melendez because they're actually playing him every day. They're playing him in right field too.
Yeah, I saw it.
So that's kind of nice. Like you said, obviously he's got power, 41 home runs in the minors last year. That might be a little bit of an outlier. But, they got so many good, like, up-and-coming players in the Royals organization. Like this guy, he has talent. He has some pedigree there. He may not be their top prospect, but he's absolutely going to have everyday at-bats right now. And, obviously Salvi doesn't have to catch every day, or he can, and he's going to DH. He's always going to be in the lineup, probably their best overall player. So with that being said, I think that he can easily pay off that salary there. But you mentioned a couple other ones, man. I'm really looking at if that game goes, Gary Sanchez against Urquidy, Urquidy cannot get right-handers out.
Yeah, here you go. That's a good call there.
Righty on righty reverse splits matchup. That could be some. Yeah, there could be some fireworks there for sure. I'm kind of surprised that Jonah Heim is at 5-1. I get it, switch hitting catcher for Texas, in seasonal long. I'm looking at the whole Mitch Garver. It's frustrating to own him, obviously. So Jonah Heim's kind of come on. He's steadily been slashing a good line, and the guy's coming into his own a little bit.
I saw it too at 5-1. No,
that's pricey.
I'm playing Salvi if I'm going to.
At that price, absolutely. I think you're right there. So, and I think from looking at it from the first base and catcher being a hybrid position, Salvi Perez is carrying the ownership on that from the catcher side of things. But it looks like there's going to be a lot of first base options here, which is something we can move into if you're ready, Pete. Anything else on catcher?
Nope.
All right, so sliding over to first base, a lot of good options today. I do want to mention from a BVP standpoint, kind of looking and trying to find something that stood out. The splits on this slates, man, it's hard to read any kind of BVP list.
I know. I was doing that with the trends.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff that I'm looking at, it's hard to follow. But I will say, just kind of going back to it, Miguel Sano, he has taken Jose Urquidy deep one time. Man, I feel bad for picking on Urquidy here, but I'm not.
No doubt, though.
Yeah. So, anyways, first base position, Pete, what do you got?
All right, so the top play is going to be Alonso against Sanchez. So, Sanchez right now is terrible against righties. Let me see. Alonso's a decent reverse splits hitter. He's got full home. Let me see. He's got 236 ISO, 365 WOBA, 40% hard contact and fly ball. Sanchez around 414 batting average, crazy high, 466 WOBA to righties. So, Alonso's your play, I think, the top play. Paul Goldschmidt is hitting really – he's hitting 342 over his last 20 games, 404 WOBA. So Goldschmidt's in play. I probably would lean Alonso. So Goldschmidt's is a nice little pivot off of Alonso. And then I think my favorite play, if I'm going to drop all the way down, right now I'm looking at is Ryan Mountcastle going against the pitch to contact Michaelis. Mountcastle right now, his last 20 hitting 275. And then he's hitting 420 over his last week with 2 home runs, 7 ribbies. So Mountcastle right now is probably my favorite buy low, I believe. Then you got Matt Olson against already too. Eovaldi, who's given up a lot of home runs this year.
Yeah,
so
and don't forget, I was saying you got your guy Jose Miranda batting third today. That's what it looks like.
That's right. I think he's third base over. He's first. That's right.
Yeah, 2.6 righty on righty matchup. And we've already talked about, we're not going to beat a dead horse there. Talk about, the issues.
That's the call, right?
with the righty matchup there. But also, good pivot here. Dominic Smith, he tends to be a righty masher, 3.4K going up here against Aaron Sanchez. Sanchez, if you haven't seen him pitch before, sinker ball type of pitcher. That tends to be the pitches that Smith hits really well. I'm looking at it. I was trying to find out if there was any real BVP.
Smith's a good spot. Smith's a good spot then. Yeah, I keep thinking he's in the outfield.
Yeah, well, the issue is he's batting lower, and then you have Pete Alonso there. So you're like, if I'm going to play a Met, I'm going to play Dominic Smith. But then if you're looking at it, hey, well, I'm also going to save $1,500 on DraftKings by playing Dom Smith here. He can tend to be a little bit of a boom bust player, but I think just from what I'm seeing that, he should be in a really good spot. Like I said, that's a value play. Obviously you can go Miranda at 2.6K, but Dom Smith, there's always the platoon issue of like, is he going to get pinch hit for or whatnot? That's something that's always a concern for us. Yeah, but something to look at there. And obviously, you can definitely go Jose Miranda 2.6K. He's going to be your value play, I think, on there. Or Bethencourt, like you talked about earlier. All right, anything else here? You mentioned Mountcastle. That's super sharp. You put something, or one of you or the coaches or a sub put something about Austin Hayes yesterday also. But man, these Baltimore heroes, Mullins, these dudes are on fire, bro. Like they're hitting right now. So might be a good time to stack up some Baltimore tonight. Anything else on first base that you're seeing, Pete?
No, you're either paying up for Goldie, Alonso, Matt Olson, or I'm probably going to go down to your Miranda call, which is good, in Mountcastle, or I like the Dom Smith call too.
Yeah, worth mentioning, obviously, on FanDuel, Juan Yepez, first base eligible, or he's only first base eligible. Brad Miller, also first base eligible here. Yepez at 2.8, Brad Miller at 2.4. I'm sure you're going to see some attack Brady Singer, #attack Brady Singer stuff on Twitter. He can he's one of those guys that came up and had a lot of a lot of upside and everything like that, but he hasn't been overly impressive, not great against lefties. You're going to face Miller. You're going to face a very, very hot Corey Seager. We talked about Yonaheim, obviously, at catcher. And then you've got Calhoun in there, Nate Lowe. They can get real left-handed down there in Texas. So, all that being said, we want to move on to second base right now. Second base, we're looking to have some split ownership, Pete, across what I'm seeing here. It looks like, I don't know, man, Marcus Semien, he's becoming polarizing. Is he going to deliver? Is he not? He's in a spot where he could obviously attack the top of that lineup, but he's definitely not looking like the Marcus Semien we saw in Toronto last year. What are your thoughts of second base, Pete?
Altuve is in a great spot against Archer.
Yeah.
Altuve hits righties really well. 208, ISO 357 Woba. Tommy Edmonds going to be popular against Watkins in that Baltimore bullpen. 5-1. But one player who I like, who he doesn't get any respect, and he's still one of the hottest hitters in baseball, is Jeff McNeil. 4,300. Got the platoon against Sanchez. He's hitting 338 over his last 20 games. He's hitting 330 on the season. Had a big game last night. He had a double, a couple ribbies, a couple hits. I like Jeff McNeil. Yes, I didn't even realize. Remember, we were all over Segura yesterday, and I didn't even realize Segura hit a bomb last night. I fell asleep.
Yeah.
So McNeil's my call at second base today, like Segura was yesterday. Yeah.
When we start to get past the first base position, nothing wrong with Yuli Gurriel, but I start to really like these Astros here, especially because a lot of really good right-handed hitters. Chris Archer, definitely not good against, he tends to be reverse splits, but he's kind of reverse bad. He's really just not been great this season. He has some strikeout upside, but currently small sample size against left-handers, 377 WOBA, 344 ISO, traditionally bad against right-handers. You mentioned Altuve. I think that's solid. It's really hard to not want to pay for Altuve here today, but you mentioned a lot of them on there. Do you know anything? I saw this Brendan Donovan kid. Did he go yard, or he had a game last night?
I know he had a decent game. I saw somebody that actually posted on Discord, and I almost played him too, but I really like that price. Yeah. And I'm gonna lie to you if I tell you if I know too much about him. And I was gonna dig into him last night and never did. But if Donovan plays again, I think he should definitely something to look at for a minimum price.
Yeah,
especially on a site like this.
Yeah, same side of that game. You can definitely pay min price for Rougned Odor. He has faced Miles Mikolas, I believe, one time in his career, and he hit a home run. So There you go. Odor, I feel like is definitely going to be boom bust, but at 2K, man, you can eat a zero with the 2K player sometimes, but if you hit that home run with him, I mean, this guy, he's projecting just because of the second base position is pretty nice today. 2K, he's projecting at sub 2% ownership right now. I don't know if that's going to stick or not, but obviously, if you're playing anything with any kind of a Baltimore stack, he's batting 6, so definitely look that way. Heart of the order, absolutely. On FanDuel, from an ownership perspective, we talked about it. Simeon's up there. It does look like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, it's the same amount of games. Okay, I was going to say Javier Baez is second base eligible on FanDuel, so you definitely want to look him here against this Logue guy. I don't know too much about the Oakland pitching, so I'm not going to pretend to, like Pete said, but definitely want to look at him there as well. And yeah, that looks like it for ownership wise. So definitely want to mention that Baez is second base eligible. Pete, is there anything else on the second base before we move over to third, the hot corner, or you got any more thoughts on it?
Nope. I think my pool is very condensed. The second again, Altuve, McNeil, something like that.
Love it, man. All right, third base. Got some choices to make here. You got a very, very obvious value in Brad Miller here facing, Brady Singer, only 2.5K. Looks to be carrying a lot of the ownership here. It's kind of a different story just because of positional eligibility on FanDuel. Bobby Witt Jr. at 2.6K looks to be leading over there over the much pricier, much more powerful, I feel like, Nolan Arenado there. So with that being said, what are you looking at for third base today?
Yeah, BWJ hurt me last night, and I was all over him, man. So now that he's leading off, he let off last night and really didn't come through. There's not a real lot. I mean, Arenado's now 6K against Watkins. That's a big price to pay for Arenado. So probably, I mean, I'll go $200 left and take Devers over Anderson. So Devers, I think, is in a great spot. Always against righties. I don't care who it is. Mm-hmm. Bregman, he's 5,300 though. I like Bregman was like 4,900. Here we go. Riley against the righty. You play Riley against righty against Eovaldi. Eovaldi, I think, is giving up like 8 home runs this year. So like Riley's probably my favorite play at 5,100. And this Kevin Smith for Oakland, he's got a little bit of pop. Minimum price against his Wentz kid for Detroit. You can mess with him. And of course, you can always play, Bobby Witt Jr. just because he had one bad game. I mean, I can't. I think the kid's great. So, yeah, probably Candelario was only 3,500 against Logue. I think that's his Logue. Candelario was getting hot, hitting 290 was last week. Now I probably just named half the third baseman. So, Austin Riley, Candelario, Bobby Witt, or all the way down to Kevin Smith. I'm going to try Riley against Eovaldi at 51.
Yeah. Definitely want to mention Gio Urshela. Obviously, he's down there a little bit. Righty on righty against Urquidy. We talked about that. 2 plate appearances, 2 hits, 1 home run, batting 1,000, slugging 2,500 against Urquidy in his career. So he has not had a bad plate appearance against him. Bregman, a little bit of success against Archer. Has hit a bomb on him. Only 5 plate appearances, 4 at bats on him. Yeah, I definitely like Bregman here. I think that this.
I didn't realize
this game could for sure go into GPP territory with the amount of runs that we could see. That could definitely go off here today. But yeah, I mean, kind of looking at it, I was looking at Eduardo Escobar. I don't know if he pops up just because he has seen Sanchez in the past. So obviously someone to look at there. But with that being said, I mean, you kind of have to feel like, I mean, like you said, you named a lot of third basemen because there's a lot of good spots. That's why I said there's decisions to be made here. Austin Riley, righty on righty matchup for sure. We have to consider here. And then you could get weird. I mean, I don't know if it's weird or not. I was saying you could play some Angels. Anthony Rendon, man, what's going on with him, Pete? What are you seeing? We kind of talked him up yesterday, or I did at least. I like the guy, and I think he's a good hitter. But he came through yesterday. He finally got that home run, but only 1 for 5. Before that, he seemed to kind of be on the struggle bus. A couple strikeouts yesterday. So is he becoming boom bust? He used to be just a solid cash player, and now we're seeing a little bit of a different Anthony Rendon here. What is he? Only 4.8. He seems like he's still expensive. So
yeah, he's very boom bust. I've read there's a lot of stuff out there about him. He's just very disinterested when he got that contract. He did hit one yesterday, but that was late, right?
Yeah.
But To me, I play Rendon in stacks. I got lucky with him about a week ago when I won like the $5 GBP or something. I got lucky when I put him in there, but I would normally not have him in cash. He's hitting $1.70 last week, 210 on the season, 4 homers. Nah.
Super fair. Definitely, guys, if you're playing cash games on this slate, be mindful of that Brad Miller ownership. If it creeps up where it's damn near 50%, you need to probably have him at third base or outfield. So just keep that in mind, especially at 2.5K. We're going to move on to the shortstop position. With that being said, let me go ahead and pull that up here from a BVP standpoint. We do have, let me see, Francisco Lindor. Quite a history here against Aaron Sanchez. No home runs, but hitting .444 against the guy. So he's definitely seen him there. Kind of digging down to see if there was anything else. I expected some better BVP against Ian Anderson, but I guess he hasn't faced Boston too many times. Bogarts surprisingly hasn't hit him that well. He does have a hit off of him, but not a ton there. Alcides Escobar does have some success against Tyler McGill, but I think this is a new Tyler McGill, much better pitcher than probably what Escobar is used to seeing. All that being said, Pete, man, I don't know. Javier Baez, Seager is hot. Lindor, there's some options there. Wander Franco completely sunk my cash lineup last night, so thanks for that. Did he get it was a coach's decision? Did you get any more information on that?
On what? Franco?
On Wander, what happened yesterday?
I'm not sure what happened.
He got pulled. He had a
zero.
No,
I'm seeing it right now. As you're saying, it's popped up on the screen. He was removed for rest purposes.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
It looked like they said he thought he suffered injury running out of ground ball, but they removed it for rest purposes. I didn't even realize he left the game. I just passed out like 10:30 last night. So
yeah, no worries. All right, so digging into it, shortstop. What are you seeing at Lindor? Kind of looks like the obvious play here, but I'm sure there's other plays that we can look at, especially with the Seager. They're right there, priced next to each other. Who do you like better out of Lindor and Seager today?
Well, I continue to play this Jeremy Pena. He's hitting .330 over the last week, 48, and he's $4,800. Chris Archer, no problem.
Yeah,
Lindor's play, but I may just go with Pena. I see. Was it DeJong? I think DeJong got sent down.
Yeah, he got options. Yep.
Yeah. So you got options up there. Bogarts, Lindor, Baez is always a GBP play. But I think I like Jeremy Pena. I think I may end up going with Lindor because Lindor may be popular in cash. But I'm not going Wander against Ohtani, even though Wander's that's a great GPP play. You know what I mean? So see if he loses one off him. It's just it's very will happen. Mateo, he's only 2,600.
I like Mateo. I like Mateo. He's always a good just dart play. He definitely he finds a way to score, right? Always.
Yep. Said he'll hit you a triple or double or something somewhere. So he's always a solid play. But I think it's gonna be either to me Pena or Lindor. Lindor is probably gonna be the popular play. I don't see any must-haves for values here.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously, Corey Seager, he's leading ownership, lefty-righty matchup, coming off a good game. Not even saying recency bias. Seager's an amazing hitter, obviously.
Yeah, that's true. And I play him a lot too.
I think that it's here, especially if you're playing Miller, you're going to look at Seager here. Seager tends to hit very well, against the right side of against right-handed pitching. But Brady Singer, one thing he does throw more than 50% of the time is that sinking fastball here. Corey Seager, last couple seasons, 520 WOBA against it. So obviously that's something to keep in mind. Only a 150 ISO, so he must keep the ball down, which is helpful, but it looks like guys are hitting it and they're making contact against it. And, Brady Singer right now is at 351 WOBA, 186 ISO against the left-handed side of the plate traditionally over the last couple seasons. But small sample size for this season. He probably had an extended spring training. So definitely want to consider Seager there. I do like your Pena call a lot because I feel like, nobody plays him depending on where he's at in the order or whatnot. So obviously that's always a thing. So Pena's, he's awesome, man. I love both sides of that. I mean, you could definitely look at, from the Houston, Minnesota, just, throw a freaking dart at the lineup and you're probably going to hit somebody that can potentially pay off their salary tonight. All right, Pete, anything else on shortstop? Or are you ready to move on to outfield?
No, that's it.
All right, brother. So we're going to move on. Outfield, obviously, like Pete said, guys, keep notes. I know we had one of our subs yesterday at TBW Spartans. He was showing us he's taking notes on there. And guess what? It helped because he took notes, and I think he played Seager. I think that's what he was talking about yesterday. And you were talking about him crushing, and he paid him off with a couple of home runs. So if you're watching this show, whether it's mental or it's written down, old-fashioned pen and paper, man, like I said, or pencil and paper, we want to make sure that you guys can get some of these calls as we're filming and recording this show early in the morning, and we want to look towards the slate later today. Outfield position, Pete, looking at it from a BVP standpoint, there's a lot here to dig through. With that being said, I was trying to find out if anybody stood out. I know Alec Vertigo he's 3 for 6 off Ian Anderson, no home runs though, so he is making contact on there, but kind of digging down, there's not a lot on there. I will say Ozuna has seen Eovaldi before. Some of the Braves have, and Eovaldi does not have great success, but it's a very small sample size here. So, you definitely want to take that into account. But, there's nothing that I think that stands out from a BVP standpoint. So it's all fair and game, man. Like, what do you got at outfield for us today?
I was looking at some recency as you're talking. Austin Hayes, I mean, even though it's a righty, though, but Hayes is in play. I just had another name that popped up. Definite value. Willie Castro for Detroit is hitting really well. He's hitting like 340 over his last 20 games. You can also play him at shortstop. So I'm not saying play with Willie Castro in your cash games, but that just popped up. I know I forgot to say his name. So he's always a value. Yadi Hernandez, GPP was McGill, but Yadi Hernandez is crushing righties this year for the Nationals. He's hitting 360 over his last 20. Definitely in play. Definitely Acuna. Acuna is probably my top pay up. And not Acuna, you got Kyle Tucker, only 46. His price just doesn't move. Going up against Chris Archer. So Tucker in play, definitely. That means Yordong's in play. Cedric Mullins definitely in play because he gets Michaelis. But now Mullins is not 5,400. He's no longer in that $400 range. So I don't like playing Soto because all they do is walk on the poor guy. Trout's GPP against McClanahan. He could hit another 2 home runs, but I probably won't play him in cash. So I guess when it's all said and done, Andrew Benny's down 4,700 though, but he's hitting. There's a bunch of ways to go, but I guess I like Tucker. You can play Jeff McNeil in the outfield. I'm playing McNeil somewhere in my lineup tonight.
I'm finding it very, very difficult, Pete, just to overlook how good the St. Louis Cardinals, especially the right-handers, look today against.
Yeah, I didn't mention O'Neill. Then you
have O'Neill. Yepez is obviously outfield eligible.
He's cheap too, O'Neill.
3K, yeah. I mean, he's batting 4th right now between O'Neill and Arenado. So if you're not going to see pitches there, then when are you going to see him, right? Goldschmidt, Arenado, Yepez, O'Neill. You can stack that up. You can throw Dylan Carlson in there. I know he's outfield eligible as well, but it's really hard to be like, oh, okay, well, why would you not play these guys at this point? Spencer Watkins has not shown anything to me to say, hey, he's not someone to attack. Traditionally, over the last couple seasons, just to mention, as much of a gas can as he is against right-handers, a 425 WOBA allowed, 318 ISO. It screams that this guy's going to get hit hard today. He throws basically a fastball or a fastball, like a cutting fastball, literally probably 90% of the time. So these Cardinals, as long as they're seeing it well, O'Neill, he profiles really well here. I know he started to heat up and everything like that. I know Harrison Bader, he's obviously somebody, I think he hit an inside the park home run last night. But all these guys right here just look like smash spots. Cardinals. I like a lot of the other players, but I just think that you're going to want to get some exposure. I mean, Yepez probably looks like the most logical one here, especially if you're paying up a little bit at pitching. Yeah. From a ownership standpoint, if we're just talking about it from a FanDuel, Juan Soto leads ownership, but Tyler O'Neill is right after him, which makes a lot of sense, 3.3K there. But yeah, man, did you mention Buxton? I don't know, because he's in a great spot.
Yeah, I mean, Buxton's like one of those calls. He's always in play.
Yeah, you don't really have to say it. Yeah, you're like, okay, Buxton. Yeah, he's going to do well, especially against Urquidy here.
I'm in Acuna so much right now. Like I can see using like a Acuna, Tucker, Yepes, something like that. If I can find value somewhere else, they'd be
Tuna
like
Buxton Yepes. Yeah, you can, or whatever. Yeah. I mean,
Yep.
you can definitely you can line them up here, especially because I mean there's definitely some gas cans on this slate. So my suggestion is if you're making multiple lineups and you're stacking, be smart about it. You don't necessarily have to stack 5 players from a team that you like. Find a couple teams that you like, stack 4 and 4, or maybe 4-3 and a one-off. There's a lot of ways to build. We don't talk too much about building lineups on MLB, but generally you don't want to play a batter versus any of your pitchers unless it's just an extreme value or a dart throw or whatever it is. But I think on 7 games, you should be able to find enough value not to do that. That's just my suggestion on there. I think Pete and I are both going to be on the same wavelength here with catcher today. We don't really see a smash spot pay up or a smash spot value. So we're probably going to pay down there. So those are things to keep in mind if you are taking notes on the show. What else on outfield, Pete?
I think that's really it for now. You mentioned O'Neill, we mentioned the Astros guy, so I pretty much gave everybody I like.
Yeah, I think that pretty much covers it. I mean, I'm kind of looking in to see if there's anybody that I missed. Like I said, we mentioned the obvious spots on there. You definitely want to consider outside of Acuna, those Atlanta guys. They tend to have hitters that have a lot of pop. Eovaldi throws the ball really hard. They hit the ball really hard. You can put 2 and 2 together. Definitely some GPP plays there. They could definitely go off for you today. But yeah, man, that covers it, I think, for the outfield position. Pete, want to move in and close the show out with some stacks that you like at a smaller slate? Give me a number 1 stack for you and then a sneaky stack. Maybe a stack that, let's say one that you would play in the same lineup, and give us an example of what that might be.
I mean, I think my top stack right now is I would probably be going with the Mets against Sanchez. Yeah, and I would end up rolling like Nemo be leading off. He's the lefty, so probably something like like a rate 1 through 4, and then throw Dominic Smith in there, something like that. Especially if McNeil's batting third. So yeah, something like that. That's my one, and I also like the Tigers against this. And I think I'm butchering his name. Is it Loge? I've watched him pitch too. And I can't remember how they're pronounced. Is it Loge or Logue? I think the Tigers are a little bit sneaky tonight. I guess anytime you use the Tigers and be sneaky, I think they're in a good spot. But this Logue kid, he's really struggled between majors and even in AAA. So they're my favorites.
Yeah, I like that.
I think I know who yours is going to be.
No, you might not. I mean, maybe. I think that if I'm kind of like the numbers just don't lie, and I think I'll just go back to it because I think that everybody might be off them or a little bit sour from yesterday. But I think I'm just going to play Cardinals as my number 1 stack.
What I figured, yeah.
What I would probably do is if I made 20 lineups, I'd probably lock in a minimum of 3 Cardinals in every lineup just to make sure I get the exposure there. And then I would rotate stacks out. Minnesota, Houston definitely looks like a place that I want to attack because I think both sides, I have a lot of guys that I have that are in Houston with me, and they're like, why do you throw shade at the Astros? I'm like, I don't throw shade at the Astros. I love the Astros. It's some of their pitching that I throw shade at. And Urquidy's one of those guys that I'm just not super happy with. But, maybe he shows up today. But I do think Minnesota, that game is nearly implied for 9 runs. It's right about 8.5 right now. So definitely one I want to stack up or I want to look at there. But I like that. I would say if I don't stack that Houston-Minnesota game, I'm definitely want to get exposure to the Texas Rangers here. I think that they could definitely hit Singer pretty hard. So I definitely want to consider that. But I'm going to be really focused in on St. Louis and just kind of like, put my flag in the ground on that hill. I think one of our coaches here at Big E, he mentioned that the temps are in the high 80s. So obviously if it gets hot there, that dew point moves up. That's going to be something I want to focus in on because that's hitting weather. And we like hitting weather here in MLB DFS. Pete, we're going to end out and we're going to talk about our home run calls today. I'm going to go ahead and lead off. I let you start yesterday. I'm going to give one above 4K and one below 4K. So You can prepare while I sit here and scramble through what I want to do. No, I'm just kidding. But I think that my home run call is definitely going to be from the St. Louis Cardinals today. I think Spencer Watkins is going to give one up. I would love to just pick all of the right-handed bats here, but I'm going to go Nolan Arenado. He's the best fly ball hitter that they have, nearly a 50% fly ball rate. They loved him in Coors because of that. If this is hitting weather and Arenado puts the bat on the ball against Spencer Watkins, who is super vulnerable against right-handers, I think we're going to see fireworks. Arenado, I'll probably, and I know there was a lot of other third base calls there today. I might lean him just because I feel like he might come in a little bit lower ownership today, so we'll have to see. But he's going to be my favorite call that is above 4K. And honestly, below 4K, I'm going to stick with the same team. I don't know if that's cheating or not, but I'm going to go Juan Yepes today. He's right there, batting right behind him, 3-4 stack. That might be putting all my eggs in one proverbial basket, but I like Yepes here. He's only 3K. He's in a great spot. He's a good hitter. I think that's where I'm going to stand, Pete. Tell me what your thoughts are on that and who are you picking today?
And the more I'm looking, as you were talking, the Cardinals really do line up as a stack tonight. Really do. All right, so my above is good. I want to pick a Braves. So I'm going to go Matt Olson. I think Matt Olson's in a nice spot, definitely against the righty. Eovaldi's been giving up home runs this year, so it's been a problem for him. So Olson lefty versus righty. And then a name I never mentioned in the outfield, and it was on my mind, and that was a name I was thinking of, is Max Kepler. I like Max Kepler. Gets the platoon advantage against Urquidy. Even though, like you said, Urquidy is a reverse splits pitcher, though. But I like Kepler. He's probably going to be leading off tonight. He usually does against righties. So he's my low ball call. Yeah, because Adam Duvall is going to go against the righty. So, I'm going to go Kepler.
I love it, man. I hope I didn't give the kiss of death to St. Louis for 2 nights in a row.
They add up. The more I'm looking,
I'm gonna feel really bad about it. And I was looking at the Minnesota guys because they're extreme fly ball guys. Urquidy is a 45% fly ball rate, which is insane, and near 50% fly ball rate here. And then depending on what happens with weather, this could be a recipe for some home runs in that game. So I want to mention that because these Twins guys, you're right, dude. Buxton, Kepler, Polanco, Sanchez, and Royce Lewis, all guys that are above 40% fly ball rates here. So we might see some fireworks in that game. Definitely something to mention. And Chris Archer is equally as bad. He has a 46% fly ball rate right now, and which is even more extreme against the left-handed side of the play where Astros have a lot of power. But Bregman, Alvarez, Tucker, Jeremy Pena, Martin Maldonado, all above 40% fly ball rate hitters. So we want to mention that, guys. Those are our thoughts. Those are our home run calls. Obviously, Pete's going to have some top plays out. Be sure if you're not in our free Discord to jump in. But if you really want to cash in, get in that premium right now. $25. You can make that back tonight on MLB, guys. Be sure to hit that thumbs up, give us the like, give us a subscribe, guys. We would appreciate it much more than you can even imagine. Hit that bell for notifications. YourFieldersChoice.com. This is our daily hit and run show. Be sure to check us out on all our socials. Hit at YFC Sports Pete or at YFC Sports V12 up for any questions on Twitter. We're happy to always help you guys out. And if you need a coach or any assistance on our Discord, just check out anybody with the YFC name capitalized in front of it. They will be happy to direct you in the right direction. Pete, I appreciate you, brother. I'm glad you're starting to feel a little bit better. We're on for a big MLB week. Be sure you guys check in with the PrizePicks video today at what time, Pete?
5:30 Eastern.
Let's get it, guys. Have a great day. Let's make some money.
Good luck.